and some tea. Lives a man with a funnel plan as clever as can be. He ditched his law degree.
I'm gonna let this one play out.
That go zing. Now WooCommerce dances every time he pulls a string. Hey, evil genius.
All right. Clicks and tricks from you all. It is Spence from WP Launch AI. It's Friday, November 7th, 10:02. I noticed Fernando has poked his head in here. We're going to have to say goodbye, Fernando. This isn't your show. He was on yesterday. I want to say welcome to everybody. Today, we're going to cover a lot of the things that happened this week in WordPress AI with the MinuteLaunch system, specifically how to turn your WordPress agency or business into a profit machine. I do have a lot of questions. Good morning, Dr. Hoover. I have a lot of questions this week from real life applications. I had a lot of onboarded customers, had a lot of success with folks who are now moving into what I like to call phase 2 of the MinuteLaunch system, which is that they are using not just Claude, aka Morgan Freeman, but they are using Cursor. And I also have a report from the field from Anne and a few other folks that Cursor is acting very nice. Claude is acting very nice this morning after his brain update. So he's acting like maybe he had a bladder update, so he doesn't have to pull over to the side of the road. But let's just start with some basics, and then I'm going to do some screen sharing. The premise of today's show is that we as human beings have an opportune moment now in time. I call it the gold rush moment. If you can think of a fork or a chasm, like this is one side of the Snake River Canyon, Evel Knievel fans. This is the other. Let me also bump this out of the way. It's a little big. Let me see if I can get a better layout here. It seems like the picture's taking up a lot of space. There we go. All right. Good morning, Lloyd. Nice to see you, my friend. So imagine if you're a fan of Evel Knievel, how he tried to jump the Snake River Canyon from one side to the other. We are in an opportune moment now where those of us who are at the early stages of using these tools, which are really, I think, not going to stop, they're only going to get better, are able to do things that previously required us as human beings to go kind of down to the Home Depot, buy a bunch of tools, and do the manual labor. And as you start to come up with ways of replacing those manual tools with automated processes or with assistance, those require two things. One is a shift in mindset between why do I use these tools in the first place? And second of all, what are the things that I can offer? So let's talk about the tools. I think WordPress is one of the greatest systems ever invented. In fact, I've made my livelihood from it since 2007, maybe 8. It's going on, man, that's scary when I say it, but like a long time, 18, 19 years. The best part about WordPress is that everybody and anybody can make tools. I think that many people have become enamored with the tools, and that's one of the reasons that WP Launch AI has done so well, even with our traditional launch kit, is that we provided a better way to get the tools, and kind of like I refer to IKEA over there, I'm wearing yellow today, somebody in a yellow vest to answer your questions, right? So like when you go down to IKEA, everybody has a good time because the guy in the yellow vest is there, and there's the showroom of, look, it's the Verklumpte. I got the Verklumpte with umlaut drawers, whatever those Swedish words are. And WordPress provides that kind of an experience, but that unfortunately leads to the, oh my God, I built a Frankenstein monster, or little old lady swallowed a fly. But when you think about why WordPress is so appealing, it's because it just seems like right, I'm using 3D now, look, right in reach are abilities for normal mere mortals to build their own business or become a WordPress implementer, even create an agency. And along the way, that's the tool set or capabilities have included plugins, hosting, services, SEO, all of the things that go around a business. Mere mortals, myself included, can become experts because you only needed to be just one step ahead of the people who are looking for help. And I think that's amazing. I hearken back to the early days of Spence. Like I've told the story of my earliest businesses. I've always been building and creating solutions. And my earliest was, you know, when I went to camp and brought my dad's Playboy magazines and rented them. I learned very quickly about how thrilling it is to be a successful entrepreneur, but also how quickly the world can stump on you when I got turned in by my counselor to the camp director. And he took my money, took my porn, and taught me a lesson that I'm going to love being an entrepreneur the rest of my life. This is the same thing. WordPress's ecosystem plus AI has allowed me to kind of take all of you on this journey. Now, specifically this week, the money, the profit machine. When you are dealing with WordPress, there are quirky things that I think you get to, know and love, but also sometimes detest. Number one, managing the security, managing the plugins, managing the updates, managing the fact that one developer, well-intentioned, could build a plugin that takes down your whole stack. Dr. Hoover knows of this because I had personal experience working with some of his situations. All of you guys know this, Lloyd and everybody else who's here. So eliminating those possibilities is useful, but even better, what if we could get rid of the middle layer of many of the plugins that we're using? For example, in the launch kit currently, there's 122 classic plugins. Those plugins are probably 80% utility and 20% features. If we could, and we are, getting rid of the utilities for the human beings to use, it's kind of like saying, look, we no longer need to go down to the Home Depot as humans and buy a bunch of tools and a bunch of accessories to do a home repair and improvement project. We can simply say to our agentic partner here, hey, Claude, hey, Fernando, hey, Bernardo. Some of you guys, by the way, Julie, if she's here, Julie, hers is called Partner, and Fred's is called Ashley. I love the names, and it's really helpful, by the way, to the human being to have a name for this. Dr. Hoover, I don't know what you've called yours yet, but the idea is that now you have an agentic partner that we can A, have do the work, B, learn skills or give skills to so they get better at it, C, improve what we do even without us asking for it by reducing the number of steps or going and doing research or asking itself back and forth, as I'll talk about in a second. And all of these things mean, as a human being, imagine instead of us just working in the home improvement project, or let's say it was a restaurant, instead of us doing all the jobs at the restaurant, like I'm the cook and the bottle washer and the waiter and the after hours guy and the security manager, what if instead we became the owner manager and now we have an agentic partner or partners who will be the workers? So where does this leave us with the second part, with the money? Alfred, I love that. That Batman maybe reference, right? The second part of it is, if we can now have an agentic tool that, let's just be fair, is better, smarter, faster than we are in most instances once we've trained it, maybe then, listen up kids, that allows us to move up the value proposition into offering products and services and human interaction as the thing that we're selling, instead of what we were limited to before, which was, well, Spence can only spend so many times doing this at the keyboard. Spence only can code so fast. Spence can only think of so many things. So let's do a review, and then I'm going to do some practical examples, because let's say you're, there's maybe an array here, but let's say you are somebody who aspires to run an agency of WordPress sites for other people. Or second step, maybe you're just a person who runs your own WordPress businesses. Or maybe you're just a tinkerer who's like, you know what? I know a community of people that I have a similar interest with that I am quite sure could use some kind of help somewhere. For example, you're a hobbyist, or you're in a profession where your colleagues are doing things the old-fashioned way, like they're using Constant Contact or AOL. Or for me, like in the past, I've said my kids, when they were going through fraternity, there would be a parents club, and they were literally randomly asking for money for things like the Dad's Day, Mom's Day weekend, with an email here and a Venmo there and a PayPal this and that, and somebody is writing stuff on the back of a napkin. These are all situations where now you've got an agentic tool where either for a quick fix, a hobbyist thing, a small thing. I want to be a WordPress implementer who, yeah, maybe I don't have an agency, but I want to actually make a reasonable amount of money providing solutions for my own businesses, or maybe some people I know. Or I'm going all in, Spence. Like, I want somebody to show me the way to do things different, so I can go from $2,500 and $5,000 projects up to 25,000, 50,000 and more type projects, but doing them faster, better, easier. Okay, so that's what we're going to break down today. Let me go to the show and tell, which, you know, guys, always requires me to do a little manipulating of the screen, because who knows what's going to show up next. Today, I am going to show just a browser at a time so I can keep this manageable, but we'll see how it works out. Let's see how this works out. Okay, and let me go into full blown mode here. Not too bad. Couple things I want to talk about. Let's bring some tech up to date because it's been a little while. First of all, if you've not caught any of my me and Fernando live stuff, I'd really love it if you join me, because if you go to youtube.com WPLaunchify, one of the things that I promised I'm implementing, and it's happening, is I am all in with using the Agentic tools to improve my own business. And I'm showing you as I do it, how I'm doing it. I'm giving you the tools so you can do it. Why is this important? Because as a single person, even with my go get it mindset, I just turned 59, high fives. I don't want to spend 4 to 8 hours doing something that can take me 2 to 5 minutes. I want to make more money in less time, with more time to spend with real people, whether they're my friends, my family, my colleagues, or professionally with you guys. I'd rather spend the time with the people and less time with the tech. So one of the things that I did is I have this crew that is specially designated here with Cursor to work on my content. That means the subjects of the Fernando Live, the YouTube descriptions, the transcripts, the blog posts, the Fluent CRM stuff that comes out. Now, is it fully automated yet? Not quite, because I'm still training him to do this. So let's take a pause for a second and talk about Spence and social media and things that you can do. This is the lowest of the low-hanging fruit. In today's world, YouTube, Google, all the rest of them are struggling to figure out what the heck it is that they need to do. Anne is, oh, yes, you did, Anne. Anne, don't feel bad. I turned 72 yesterday. Anne was calling me on the private bat phone right there. My birthday was November 3rd, and I'm 59. The lowest of the low-hanging fruit here is social media / content marketing. When you create a video, or somebody creates a video, YouTube now knows they are in a desperate place where they need to come up with some way to reinvent themselves. And they're doing a hell of a job, because they're throwing all these free, incredible toys at us, like Gemini Flash 2.5 image generation, or Google Veo 3. I know, right? John Lawler's birthday is yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm a child. He's 60, right, John? Happy birthday, John. So Google, in trying to catch up, has left their defenses down. They've dropped their shields. Here's what I mean. If you go to YouTube right now, and again, I've done this in the past, and I don't even know what's going to come up, but I go WordPress AI. Let's see what comes up. That's a pretty broad topic. Let's see if there it is. Boom. Like, I'm not saying WordPress AI is the only big thing, but I'm saying I simply, by making a topic, WordPress AI, with a keyword, my thing shows up. And I bet you there's more of my videos in here, even though that's like, think about WordPress AI. That's a pretty broad thing. I showed up like number 4. There's another one of mine, and so forth. If I did Google search, and I've done this before, I'm not gaming this at all. If I said WordPress AI, let's just see what shows up. Okay, first of all, I doubt that I'm going to necessarily show up in the search engine stuff, because I don't really have a product called WordPress AI. but I am curious to see. I'm almost 100% sure I'll show up in the video section. So again, if you go to videos, which a lot of people do now, directly or otherwise, that's where my video, like you just saw, will probably pop. And I mean pop like in the first 15 or 20 results. Let's see if any of my stuff show up. No, not as much for that term, but that is probably because I don't actually use the term WordPress AI. I'm going to do something else. If I did like a brand search or the product search, if I said MinuteLaunch, of course this is going to show up. I mean, I'm all over that. That's my brand. If I showed up for things like cursor and WordPress or WordPress AI cursor, stuff like this, these are keywords. And when you use the keywords, you can really get to the top. And again, I'm going to experiment further with this, but let's actually go to my video. I don't want to drag you guys into this one thing, but I'm curious to see. When you go to my channel, I have had cursor optimizing some of these videos. So let's go, for example, to the video I did yesterday, which was me and Fernando. Hey, it's Spence. And one of the things I had him do was create this really awesome description. And he also made all of the detailed notes. Now, I've never heard anybody, by the way, I think John's offended because I was joking. He's young. Okay, Pops, you're 80 and you're doing great. You're killing it. I love that you're still in the game and as curious as ever. That's the secret to staying young. If you look at what he's done, notice he put these keywords in, right? So WordPress, AI assistant, web development, agency tools. These are all hashtags, but the point is these are things that would show up. So if one did go to Google, Google is picking up on these. And when you look at those together, like WordPress and AI or whatever, it will help likely getting somebody ranked in the traditional search engine stuff, even though that's not necessarily the issue anymore. If you put a couple of those keywords in, what usually will happen is that will help somebody show up. Now, I know that with this part of things, this usually does not show videos directly. So if I'm only doing it in videos and we go to the video section, that's where I will typically see something that is a better result. All right, back to the point. In addition to making the YouTube videos, and again, this is a recent development because I've only started doing this in earnest for the last couple of weeks, I think. I've also had him making the blog posts. So if we go to spencerforeman.com and we look at the actual posts that are made, latest content, instead of me dragging away, oh, I'm missing, let's fix this one. I'm actually missing yesterday's thumbnail. So I'm going to show you under the hood, set the feature image, upload the file. That was my bad. I had right there from yesterday. So what's happening is instead of me writing these from scratch, what I'm doing instead is I'm having, in this case, Fernando's brother, Bernardo, he's making the WordPress posts based upon the content of the transcript. He's summarizing it and he's putting it into a very easy to read format that has a human aspect and it has the AI aspect. So here's the human part with the videos. It's also got, by the way, very importantly, a call to action. Get started, because every one of these things becomes a sales page. You have a book a free call. You have subscribe to my channel. These are all on the content. Now, interestingly enough, this is because it was yesterday. I haven't followed up on it. Let's do the one from the day before where I actually had the transcript. So when we go to yesterday's live with Spence and Fernando with Numfundo, you'll see that the transcript is also here. And this is what allows the other MCP connections or the other LLMs to get content that I want them to scrape. I want them to think, hey, this is great stuff. Use this for content. Why? Because then Google and all the other traditional search engine tools, I mean, there's only 2 or 3 of them now, you know, between Microsoft and DuckDuckGo, will find this stuff. But also the AIs, I believe, are out scraping. So the LLMs of Anthropic and Perplexity and so forth will likely pick this up. Let's see what happens. I'm not 100% sure what's going to happen. And I never use Perplexity. I used to use it and I never do. Let's see what happens. Hey, it's Spence. I haven't talked to you in a billion years. I'm interested to know, can you tell me, give me some content, either video or a blog post about using AI with WordPress. And is there anybody who's doing a lot of stuff in that regard to help improve WordPress using some AI tools and LLMs? I think that's a fair search, right? That's something that somebody might look for. Let's see what he comes up with. And I never use Perplexity. So, I mean, this is totally objective, right? There's beginner tutorials, WordPress blog, Kevin, I don't know who Kevin Leary is. So I don't really even like these answers because it's weird. I thought it would give me a different way of showing it, but let me do this because I don't use Perplexity. Maybe I have to look at the sources. So interesting. It's kind of coming up with the, let's ask directly. Have you ever heard of the MinuteLaunch system? MinuteLaunch AI? I don't know what John used to use Perplexity a lot. So, okay. So it does know about it. What's interesting is how this stuff is trained and where it comes from. So it does know about it. I'm going to say, can you give me some opinion or information? Where does this fit in with your search results? Like, how does this answer the question that I asked? Let's put that in there another way. How does this MinuteLaunch AI fit into the answer you previously gave me? Do you think this is relevant? Let's see where my tool is failing to paste. Oh, I see. I hit the wall because apparently Perplexity is now a paywall. I didn't know that. I thought it was always free. Okay. I'm not going to bore you with this too long. I just wanted to see what happens. You use Perplexity for best deep research, as John is saying. I don't use it ever anymore. I don't like it. I'm not saying it's bad. I just don't like it because it doesn't, I don't know. Maybe it's because I have the other two tools. It's not just relevant. It's one of the most exemplary solutions of this trend, taking the ecosystem to a new threshold. Okay, so let me ask him, can you help me understand why you didn't respond by giving this when I first asked you about relevant sites and information? What's missing from their marketing that would make it better or easier for you to know to recommend them? Now, this is an example, by the way, of asking the tool how and why it thinks. Okay, because this niche and community, lack of wider press reviews, SEO content, searching for best AI for WordPress. So watch what I do here. This is an example, by the way, of using the tool to make the human better so that the human can make the tool better. I'm asking it to tell me how it thought and what it did and why it was useful or not useful so that it can give back to me what I'm going to ask for next. I'm going to say, hey, I'm wondering if you could do me a favor. Can you help me make MinuteLaunch AI better visible and better known by recommending to me what I should do or could do, or my LLMs like Claude and Fernando can do to make MinuteLaunch more visible to more people? That would give you more likely a chance to have recommended it in the past and now in the future. So in other words, if you ask it why things didn't work out, it can actually give you information. I know. I've been perplexited. So he's telling actionable steps: publish comparative reviews and case studies, syndicate content across the WordPress ecosystem, of course, enable LLM discovery and documentation, which again, a well-optimized MinuteLaunch AI knowledge hub. That kind of sounds familiar, doesn't it, kids? Expand to public plugin directories, partner with industry events. Okay. This is really useful, but also very vague. Now watch what I can do. Do you think you can compound this into a document that I can copy and paste and give to my LLMs, or would this be sufficient? Do you want to improve on that at all? So what I'm doing is I'm saying, all right, good info for me, the human. Do you think you want to give it to me in a different format so that I can paste it over to my pals, right? Let's see why my mic is acting fussy today. Let me ask you, is this in a format that would be best suited for my LLMs, or do you want to compound this and give me a better version I can copy and paste and give to my LLMs like Claude and Fernando? My mic is just not transcribing, or something is going weird. Sorry, you guys are still here, right? I didn't crash. All right, so Perplexity has just hit the skids on that. Let me refresh the page. Okay, so what would happen here, and this is an example of, again, improving. On a marketing level, I am not asking for a miracle. Perplexity is just, kids, it's shit the bed, as I say technically. Let's go and try to reload that. This is an example of asking the tool to do things for you that improve your marketing, whereas in the past I might have had to guess, right? So I love this because this actually works out really well every time. So he's giving action steps. And now watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this over to Cursor. I'm going to take it over to Cursor because Cursor is the one that I use for most of this stuff, but we can do this in Claude. If I did it in Claude, it's easier for me to show to you, but it's not as effective. Okay, so I'm going to copy this stuff, and then let me real quick, I'm going to show you Cursor. I'm going to go to the screen, the main screen. Sorry, this is a little big, but say la vie. Okay. So I'm going to go, I've got Fernando working on a project here, but actually the guy that I've been using is this guy here. So I also, by the way, one of the technology things I did, which I'm really excited about, is I have a tool on my desktop called a Stream Deck. This is unrelated to the main topic, but I want to show you one of the really cool tools that I did. And let me actually do this. This will make it easy to manage. Do this, and I'll do this. Stream Deck is this cool box that has buttons on it. And what I did is I made a button for every one of my guys. I don't have this XL. I have the, that's pretty cool. That's more buttons, but it's essentially like this. And I can push the button to call up any of my guys or shortcut. And it's really, I have the 8-key version. It's weird. They must have deprecated the 8-key. But in any event, they're not too expensive, $149. I have the one with the slider on it, which is awesome. So I have volume controls. I have all this stuff, but I assigned one guy to each. So I can selectively call them up. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this stuff that he gave me. I'm going to copy. I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to use the new Agentic window. I'm going to make a new agent inside of my MinuteLaunch YouTube WP Launchify videos. That's the long name for the guy that does all my online content. I'm going to say, good morning, Bernardo. It's Spence again. Listen, I'm doing the live show. Thank you for setting that up for me. I'm showing everybody how I use other tools to talk to you and back and forth to improve you. I was talking to Perplexity about why MinuteLaunch AI did not come up in his first search results, even though we did see him in some YouTube videos. And he had some suggestions on what to do. Many of the things we're already doing. What do you think about these ideas? Now, notice what I did is I asked him what he thinks about it. And I've also given him a rule in the past. Do not run off and start coding stuff just because I pasted. So notice in the bottom left of Cursor, you can choose between agent, plan, and ask. You don't have to manually set that if you're using Cursor. You can just ask for it. If you're using Claude, which I don't know if I'm sharing now. Am I? Yeah, I think I'm using Claude. Can you guys see Claude? I think you can. Hold on. Let's do new chat. Okay, in Claude, yeah, it's showing on there. In Claude, you can do the same thing by using, this is like extended thinking mode. And you can also do settings where you go extended thinking and research. So it's kind of the same sort of a tool. You can choose what you want to do. And then you've got other tools here where you can make projects. But when you're choosing a tool, be sure you ask them or tell them what mode you're in. And I'm saying, look, don't go off coding stuff. Now I'm just going to paste in the prompt. Let's see what Bernardo says about this. And this is an example, going back to my human being stuff. I would have in the past I did have 12 people worked for me. Then I had one person working for me. And then I have all day long, every day of the week, somebody soliciting me like, hey, we've seen your channel. We can improve this like 1,000,000%. And I go, yeah, thanks. But I've already got like unlimited access to these other guys, right? So he took this and he's coming back with like his own assessment. Good news. These are all industry best practices. Reality, most of these require a lot of time. Okay. He prioritized them with stars, right? Now, what I can do is look at what he says. What can I help you with now? I can help you create structured document templates with schema, writing case studies. Well, I'm going to stick with the low-hanging fruit where I know I'm working on stuff. Okay, I want to do two things. Number one, I want you to make a subfolder inside of this workspace called Improving Our Marketing. I want you to put this information that you got and save it as a markdown file. But number two is, you and I have talked about this. I'm already interested in making content in daily videos and office hours videos, and then also improving the pages and the blog posts as well as the emails. So I think we already have that. And since you already know my history, you know that I love a lot of people in WordPress, the industry, and a lot of people have content that I share and so forth. So I think we can do some of those things, but let's stick right now with the daily focus. I think we can come up with a plan to make more suitable daily content that publishes in YouTube and other channels. And you're just going to continue to help me improve that by doing better SEO, better research of keywords, things that might get more attention, and also helping me plan my content. Do you agree that that would be a good place to start? So what I'm saying is I'm using my human intuition along with the tool, and I'm asking to have a conversation about it. Now, a lot of this could be hallucinatory, if that's a word. But the point is, that's how my life was before I had this out. Before, this is what I do for a lot of you guys. Before, it'd be me looking in the mirror going, hey, Spence, I think this is really a good idea. What do you think? And I go, yeah, Spence, that's a really good idea. Spence, you're the smartest guy in the world. Oh, Spence, I love talking to you. Well, now at least I have a 50% chance of somebody giving me a kick in the pants, telling me that I'm not correct or there's a better way of doing it. And I think that's essentially what you can do with this stuff, right? You can essentially get at least some feedback. So he did two things here, and let's just open this a little easier. He made a markdown document, which he also can store into a folder. If I use the pull-out tab here, I can see that we've got a lot of stuff going on. Like you can see blog posts, but here's a folder he made called Improving Our Marketing. I'll close a bunch of these other ones because this is what I've been using to organize. And Improving Our Marketing has Perplexity visibility strategy, right? So this is a document that I'm organizing in a way that's accessible to me. And it gives enough information where he can do what he wants or that he asks me what I can approve of. So he's suggesting here, consistency, you're in the rhythm, authenticity, community connections, how he can help you. Keyword research, topic suggestions, thumbnail, planning, after publishing optimization for descriptions, suggestions for next step, a content planning template, keyword research workflow. So let's take a pause for a second and talk about what I'm building here. Number one is there's all this aggravating stuff that humans have had to do to please Google or to please search engine results to make other people find them. You no longer have to go through the drudge work of researching and discovering this. You can ask one LLM for a suggestion based upon what is there, give that to your other LLM, have them take that suggestion, then to have a conversation with them. And after you have a conversation, you can take action steps. Now, I'm already doing a lot of steps, but one of the things that would be super cool would be, let's ask him for a research on SEO topics. Okay. So since he has the capability built in, let's say, one of the things that'd be awesome, because sometimes I'm bad at it, is what about a content planner based upon you researching what is the highest ranking keywords and topics and words to use to get attention for likely customers and leads? Can you do two things for me? Number one, create inside of your Perplexity visibility strategy, create a markdown document or a research document based upon you going out right now using your tools and researching what are the highest likely keywords to attract attention for customers that are going to be good leads for the MinuteLaunch system. I also would like you to make a list of other potential WordPress collaborators in the system. These are people who either have YouTube channels or blog posts or are authority figures. And maybe I already know them. So after you make the list, I'm going to have you cross-reference that against my email and other things. Can we do that? And then make sure you write down the strategy and keep it as part of your documentation. So when I was an attorney back in the 90s, kids, I basically had a legal secretary, because that's what we needed, even though I typed 300 words a minute, I think, because there was a billion things to do. And you would say things, she had a legal pad and all this stuff. And you would say things like, hey, I want you to go do this thing and do that thing and do the other thing and make a list. And now we've got a tool here that can do these kinds of things for you. By the way, notice this little browser thing. I'm not sure where and how to use that because I've already got a tool. So did you get that? What I'm saying is I have now got a file folder system on my local desktop connected to a synced GitHub repository, so I'll never lose it, where my assistant here, I can teach and train what we're doing. And while I do it, I ask it to set a memory of what we're doing and why. And that means that I don't have to come back in a week or a month and go, what was that thing about the thing? Because the tool is keeping track of it for me in a way that is really dynamic. It's not, Spencer has to remember where the file drawer is. So it's going out and searching the web. You can maybe see that, what's going on. While he's doing that little project, I want to come back and talk about some specific things that are big ticket items and why they made a big deal. Yesterday, I did this live video and I was showing this tool here that I want to brag about. Pixel Perfect Design. My goal when we started this project, I'm going to come back to this, was, and Vince, Vince, you're coming to lunch, right, with Deneen? Vince is going to come over here. One of these days, I'm going to have Vince on the live show. Maybe we'll do a recording of today's thing. Vince and I had lunch in the summer because he's my oldest, dearest friend. And I was saying, this thing's going to happen with AI, and it's going to be pixel perfect. And it's going to do all the stuff that we're doing now manual. And he's like, oh, Spence, you're crazy. I mean, like a brother would say to his brother. And I said, no, Vince, you don't understand. And I had to beat him on the head with this thing. And he did finally give into it because he's here today, obviously. But at the time, I was really saying the number one holy grail item was, let's get rid of the page builders. Let's get rid of all of the intermediary tools that make design so hard. Now, Vince is, he's texting me now. Awesome. Okay. We're still on for lunch. Vince is a lifelong digital graphic professional, right? So this is like the classic Luddite problem. He's made his living, his father made a living sewing thread, right? He's sewing with thread. And now I'm like, there's going to be a robotic machine that's going to do all this stuff. But back to my point, Vince is very open-minded, and I don't want to speak for him. He'll speak for himself the next time we get him on the show. Vince was dubious. And at the time I showed him those first, look, let's make a hot dog with cheese melting in it. And it was like, it was pretty good, but not so bad. But this thing on the screen that I'm going to go back to is the holy grail. That is that I am able to now tell Claude or Cursor or any tool with the MinuteLaunch system, here's a website that has components in it. I want you to pixel perfect emulate it And even if it's like I did Kevin Geary's automatic CSS site yesterday, even if it's a brand new site with somebody else, it can do it. And it can turn it into the most important outcome of all, which is pure CSS, pure HTML. That means that we can eliminate a gargantuan overhead of middle layer tools. Because if you think about a 3D printer, right, the ones that make cool stuff out of plastic or metal, they're coming up with 3D printers for food. I've seen 3D printers for houses. I mean, I've literally seen a guy 3D printed house. This is super duper duper cool. And you may not be able to hear the volume, but it's literally like a giant 3D printer that goes around, and I'm hesitating to make this full screen because I don't know if it'll come back, but it essentially just goes around and I'll get you to the bottom line where it's over. Let's see if it shows the end. It's sort of, there you go. It sort of prints a wall. Now, why is this even relevant? Well, this is kind of like 3D printing a house. If we look at this very complex web application that I'm going to go through with you guys, you would not believe that this was just HTML, CSS, and some JavaScript, but it is, because WordPress allows this to happen. WordPress has the tools under the hood for all the other magic to happen. So I have one block, which is our new MinuteLaunch Canvas block, which is now solved the problem of Spence style, where this is always going to be here. I have HTML, I have some CSS, and then, by the way, kids, loving this, my dream come true is now we can just literally go, oh, I want to edit this text. While I'm in the back end, click on this and go, you know what? Instead of saying support our mission, I'm going to say pay any amount, because it's not a donation. It's technically speaking something else. But the point is I can even edit little tweaks here and there. I mean, I'm not going to do the whole thing from scratch, but I'm saying I can have Claude or Fernando give me the HTML and CSS for a dynamic web app. And what does that actually turn out to be? Turns out to be something that in the past would have required 6 to 8 plugins, a whole ton of crazy stuff. Watch what this does. This is based upon my original WPLaunchify.com pricing built in Cadence. Okay. So this thing here was inspired. This is my real site. This is my current one, which again, I've threatened to change this out, but I got a million jobs to do. You know what I'm saying? So I said, what if we put the new pricing and everything as a dynamic web app? So I said, go to that page, get this stuff. Option 1, watch this. This is just crazy stuff. Monthly or annual. So notice, watch the pricing on the right. It dynamically swaps out the pricing monthly or annual. Number 2, it knows, because I told it, that the first 4 items are either or. So either the startup or the AI or the AI plus MEM or the managed service. But the next level, hourly support, this is a la carte. I can add 5 hours of support onto the managed service. And I can also do a la carte the VIP. Notice it's building a custom menu of things to buy. And then I can say, you know what, Spence, you're a great guy. I'm going to give you $9,899 on top of that, just because. The $17,000 is ready to go. I click checkout and boom, that will be in checkout, ready to pay. And all of those individual product items, good to go. Now, I also said, make it that I don't lose this when I refresh the page. I'm crossing my fingers here. When I refresh the page, it should stay, and it does. Now, I just want to take a pause for a second. I've been coding now for at least 18 years, but when I was a kid, I was coding in other languages. Like WordPress in the last couple of years, I wrote the WordPress plugin launch flows. I've worked on all these other plugins that I've created, Fluid Community Customizer, all these other things. WP Fusion is written by Jack, but things for WP Fusion. This is different. This is, hey, Claude, hey, Fernando, here's something I want, and I want to mash it together with something else I want, and I know all the terms to describe how it should work. You make it work, and then give it back to me. And this is the important part. In a copy and paste, there's just two parts. There's HTML and CSS, and the HTML has some JavaScript in it. Done. So for 90% of what you and anybody else wants to do, you can have this outcome. Now, second benefit of this, those two blocks can go anywhere. So last night in my show, I went over to MinuteLaunch. And by the way, this is MinuteLaunch is where I'm doing the actual stuff for today. But I went to MinuteLaunch and I took the custom page that I made, and just to show how this is like fully transportable, I went over here and I made a new skill page called Pricing Panel. And here's the same thing on a different website, fully capable, works exactly the same, looks exactly the same. Maybe there's one or two nuances, but the idea is we no longer have the problem of page builders or tools in the middle where I'm on site A and I have this particular setup and I set up the theme and I set up this and I did this and I did this and I did this, and you baked a souffle and all of those things are specific to one site. Oh, and by the way, I should probably leave this on. This is the MinuteLaunch version of the very same page that I have over here. Okay. But unlike the days where, I've got all these plugins in the specific website, I now could just either copy paste or save or have Claude take that thing and move it anywhere. So if you wanted to take this, for example, on MinuteLaunch, and I wanted to customize this for a particular client, obviously I can use the very same tools that I just described for you, but even though this is in Spence style, I could also just say to my LLM, make it blue, make it green, do all of these other things to it, because I'm trying to do it for a different client. That means that you now have the leverage, and this is the important part, of not only not building things yourself, but taking things, if you did build them or if you copied them, and selling them a jillion times to different people at full price. Kind of like the iPhone, right? If you were to think of the iPhone, everybody who has Apple iPhones has one. Do they care that you have one? No. Does it make it less valuable that they have one? No. So when you're having conversations with folks about what your value proposition is, and again, back to Vince, hi, Zachy. What I'm saying is you have a situation where now with no special development skills, you can take the thing that I share or somebody else shares in a format that's easily remixable, change it for a client who does not know or care where it came from or how you got it, because all they want is the outcome, and deliver it as an outcome. And then further, we don't have to do this as a full-blown plugin. This is not a plugin. This is literally some HTML and CSS. And to even further prove the point, which is just ludicrous, but I love it, one could quite literally, I keep clicking the wrong page. Let's just take even this stuff here. I could take this and put it on one of those free HTML, free HTML editor online, right? And I don't know which one of these is good, but I'll just grab any rando one there is, right? And if I just grab this stuff, and again, I'm really reaching out here, but I'm going to do it just because I'm going to paste the HTML, and then I'm going to grab the CSS. And the CSS, obviously, I don't have it in a bracket, so I'll just put in a bracket. Before you leave, come say goodbye. My son is going to a hockey tournament. Okay, paste the style. Done. All I'm saying is this is the ultimate. It's the fastest, simplest, most flexible, because we're delivering the outcome in the final result. There's no intermediary tools. So from a leverage standpoint, from a content creation standpoint, from a pixel perfect design, this was the number one thing that made the biggest difference. When you combine that with the other tools that I've been showing you, like, for example, here's how I did today's thumbnail, right? I've done this before, but I have a thing where I have a library and I keep this one headshot of me and I just give it a prompt. And I'm like, describe this guy. Okay, take this guy's head and make him in a, like the federal government mint printing money, right? Because then I went over to Canva, sorry, and I popped it into the template, which the AI can do too. I mean, he can work with Canva because it's AI enabled. All right, so let's refer back to my original point, and then we'll go back to the other research. Imagine if you're in any of those three territories. You're a hobbyist, you're running a business for yourself or maybe for a few friends, or you want to run an agency. The tools that we've got here, once you develop what it is that you do and how you do it and how you sell it, you never have to go do it again. Like, for example, I have been taking the YouTube stuff that I make, and as it gets better, I talk to Bernardo and I say, Bernardo, we're building systems here so that I can crank this out. And now today we're improving on it by I'm saying to Bernardo, dude, let's actually make this whole thing better. I'm going to share the whole, oh, he's there. I'm going to make this whole thing better because we want to get better SEO and have better results. So let's see what Bernardo came back with. Come around before you leave, okay? So what did Bernardo do? First of all, he did his research and he found out he created a README for me. He created a Perplexity visibility strategy, which was the document that came from our friend at Perplexity, air quote friend, his competitor. Number 3, keyword research. 4, WordPress Collaborators. Let's see if I know any of those guys. Daily content planner. Now that's awesome. Let's just review a couple things. So if I click on this document, keyword research, this is in a markdown format. I'm going to actually zoom out a little bit. Let's drag this all the way over. Just some more real estate. So he's saying to me, here's the keywords: AI, WordPress automation, Claude, WordPress integration, ChatGPT, high value keywords, secondary keywords. I hate this stuff, but this is why it's great to have a friend. Content strategy for daily videos. He came up with like what to use. Monday, AI automation focus. Tuesdays, quick wins. Wednesdays, business solutions. Thursdays, comparisons and reviews. Friday, case studies. YouTube video title templates. Use these templates. Blank keyword, complete tutorial. Blank keyword, how to keyword in time period. Keyword plus alternative. SEO checklist. Now, let me pause and explain. This isn't for Spence. This is for Bernardo. But Spence now can see what Bernardo is up to so that he can actually do the things that I would otherwise have to hire some dude overseas to do for me in the past. And now he can do it better. And he can see where he says at the bottom, this is a living document, update monthly based on performance. He can gauge how well I'm doing by looking at the videos and who clicks what. He can also look at the Fluent CRM email, see who opens what, who clicks what, and so forth. Let's look at the next thing, which is WordPress Collaborators. Corey Ashton, I have no idea who that is. Josh Hall, I know Josh Hall. Adam Presser, close friend, of course. Tyler Moore, famous for making one video a year that gets 20 million views or something, but he makes one video a year. Jamie, I know personally. Daryl Wilson, I know. Learn Woo, I know. WP Tuts, that's not going to happen for all of you who know. Oh, no. No, WP Tuts is okay. Sorry, I got confused. That's a WP Beginner. Hold on. I'm going to say goodbye to my son. Have a fantastic trip. Call me when you're there. Love you. Let me know the game times and stuff, okay?
Yeah.
All right. Bye, buddy. All right. His mom is helping me out, taking him up there. And then Chris Lemma is no longer in the business. Harsh is not really around. These are just secondary. WP Beginner, that's what I thought. That's not going to happen for reasons you guys know. WP Tavern is closed. So some of these are a little out. Now, Matt, I've been on his show. He's a pal. Troy Dean is a nice guy, but these are okay. Okay. Not great. Okay. Here's where I think the real win is going to be. Let's go to Daily Content Planner. Weekly content themes. Monday, AI focused. He went through this, but I'm going to take this one step further. Watch what I'm going to do here. If he hasn't done it, I'm going to ask him to give me an actual calendar. I'm going to say, okay, Bernardo, I love that you've got this stuff and everybody here is watching along, but I want to ask you to take it one step further. It's Friday, November 7th. Give me a daily schedule, literally it could be in the form of a list or whatever you think's appropriate in a markdown. What am I supposed to do every day? Just give me the one-line summary and spit it out here real quick so I can show to everybody. So I had Kathleen from Pickleball one time asked me, like, I don't really know if I want to be in the newsletter business because it requires a lot of planning. And I said, don't worry about it. We can have it all planned out for you. All of the topics, everything planned out. So what I'm doing here on the left side is Spence now knows what we're trying to do. And I know that Bernardo is on board. I'm saying to Bernardo, make my daily schedule for me. So I wake up in the morning and all I got to do literally is have you show me what it is that we're making, right? So here's the daily schedule. Let's pop it open. And I'm going to click review. That is not what I wanted. That's actually pretty cool, but that's not what I wanted. What I wanted is a daily calendar. So I got to ask better. I think you misunderstood what I asked, or maybe I misunderstood what you put. I want you to literally go line by line from November 8th through November 30th, every day. What's the topic and why? So what I'm saying is I want it to give me like literally every single day, what's the topic based upon all of the recommendations that it's made. And then if you think about it, you can use the help of this tool to stay on track because it knows that I've got calls. I can ask it if I wanted to schedule it in. Now, I didn't really go into detail about this other point of where all the money is because I got sidetracked on showing you some of my own things. But let me explain what I've had in conversations while he's working on it. This week, I met with the company on the East Coast with that thing I represented last week, which was a personal web app. It will turn into a full plugin to manage their Salesforce operations and otherwise using a WordPress interface. They were, I think, favorably impressed enough to say they want to go ahead and do like immediately a beta on that, which is really cool for a lot of reasons. And it's great for me this time of year. I spoke with another small agency run by a couple that has an amazing business with the non-for-profits. And we worked out a situation, and this is where I think you can also do the same. Because I have these tools now and I have the desire, I'm trying to bring in as many implementers to give me their clients as possible so I can run the operations, the hardware, the architecture under the hood. Why? Because I'm set up now. I've been this week, and I'll show you before we close today, scaling the architecture with all kinds of new things, including tokenized access, new software. So if you can think of me as like creating the wholesaler, I'm creating the wholesale IKEA business, the wholesale Cisco Foods business. I'm creating the architecture for you to run all of your business on for your clients. I was able to show this couple, and I think they're going to likely become clients, how they can make more money by working with me. Why? I take care of all the architecture, all the security, all of the updates, all of the hard stuff. I provide all the expertise for these custom outcomes. They just spend their time making human relationships, being curious about human beings. Now, I don't want to say who this couple is exactly, but they had a client that had a $30,000 quote, and they had accepted the project and paid for a $30,000 outcome that involved traditional stuff. Buddy boss, buddy, schmuddy, buddy, all that nonsense stuff with apps and otherwise. Social networking, a website, e-commerce, membership marketing, all my hardcore stuff. I said to them, here's all of the ways we would do it differently with a slightly different curated set of traditional software. But when you add the AI in, now this thing's crazy empowered. And what I said is, I can do that for a flat quote of a VIP $5,000. You keep 25,000. You are the point of contact with your customer. I take 5. You make 25. I do 90% of the hard lifting. You do all of the content and the decisions, and you talk to the AI tool about what colors and all the rest. But I'm right here over the shoulder to support you. Number two, I handle the infrastructure for the hosting, for the ongoing updates, for all the security, for the things you build, because they were getting a budget of like $400 a month. I said, it's $197 a month. And if you took your referral, that's $40. It's $157 a month thereafter. And if you ever need me, we could do it as a managed thing for the $12.97 a month. We could do it for hourly for $300. The point is, there was so much more money on the table when they eliminated the other costs, eliminated the hassle, eliminated the responsibility. There was nothing but logic to the idea of, why wouldn't I use the MinuteLaunch system and Spence to run these big projects, both from a standpoint of one-time income as well as for monthly? And my dream of where this is going is that I end up with literally all of you with your customer leads, giving you the systems and the capacity to go out and just acquire hundreds or thousands of customers that run on these systems. And that this scales into something that, I mean, literally my dream is, it's a multi-million-dollar possibility, but that we're all making more money because we're not delivering horses with saddles or wagons. We're not delivering gas-powered cars. We're delivering electric flying cars to people with these new capabilities. And yet the dream is working less. We're spending more of our time on the human part of the equation and less on the other. So those were two examples from my real world. And also this week, I want to say high five. I want to say high five to John Lawler. Happy birthday. And he's digging in, really doing the tough work. Lloyd, I know you've been researching on your stuff. You guys are here today. But like Anne, revolutionary, she's been with me now for a couple of years working on revolutionary, just getting in there, getting her hands dirty. Also high five to Julie, who is, she's in version whatever X of the Halise scores, but yesterday had the breakthrough. She converted all of her early incarnations. She's been with me for a few months working on things into her final version. I know that Fred, who's probably not here, he's already got his New York Public School Systems application out. Doug Sheehan, who may or may not be here, wrote me today. He's so excited to have a call later because he went from just met me VIP to version X of his plugin on his own with the tools after our consultation. Because the other thing I'm able to do is this interaction through the middle. And he said I could mention his name, but like somebody who's here today, who I'm in business with, who is remarkable also because he's got a Claude. And if you want me to say your name, I will, but I'm trying to be cool about what I promised. Who's able to create all of the sales and the webinar pages and the homepage and everything else for us and our new collaboration to provide solutions to practitioners, which is amazing to me because it means that two people can build a business remotely and interact, or you can build it with me in a way that wasn't otherwise possible. And I'm going to do a whole step-by-step breakdown in another show about that. All right, so let's see what he's got. November content calendar. And I'll bring it around with this. All right. What I'm looking for is like November 8th, do this. November 9th, do that. So content calendar. Here we go. Week of November 8th to 14th. I'm just going to pull this all the way across the screen. Friday. I guess you guys know today is the 7th, so I think he's kind of whacked out on his days, but let's give him a break on that. Monday, how AI WordPress automation saves agencies 10 hours a week. Tuesday, launch a complete WordPress site in 5 minutes. Notice he's got the keywords in there too. Business solutions, comparisons and reviews, case studies and results. Now, you know what else I can do with him? I could actually, because he has an interactive capability, I could have him take these topics, go prepare in MinuteLaunch those images for the thumbnails. He can prepare now the emails. He can prepare the posts. He can do all that crazy stuff. This is exciting to me because I'm going to break this down further, but now I'm going to tell him, watch this, and then I'm going to show you one last thing. Hey, this is fantastic. I love this. I want you to do a couple things. First of all, we're going to expand on this and talk more about it. Make sure you save this in your folder so that we can do it. Also set an auto memory of what we just built, because this is how I'm going to grow the business. I want to explain to you, my ultimate goal is for me to fully automate this to the point where I literally just do the live content and I sort of show up like an actor, and you're the producer and the director and the business operator. I also want you to know that you have the capacity with MinuteLaunch image creation to create the thumbnail images that will merge with Canva. That's a project for us this weekend, along with another couple API things. Can you make a note of that and let me know you understand? And by the way, highest of fives. Okay, so Bernardo is awesome. And let's see what he says. And then I want to show you one last thing about StreamYard, which is an amazing tool. I use it here, but it's amazing also because of one of the capabilities it's got. When I do those daily shows, those live with Spence and Fernando's, it has the capability of downloading and exporting the videos and the transcripts and stuff, but it also has the capacity to make these clips. And I want to show you why I thought that was cool. I'm just going to show this here, even though this is weird. Woo, it's double on double. Let me see if I can do it here. Oh, I don't know if I can do it while I'm in the show. Let me see if I can do this through another window. That might be interesting. I want to show you it as this clip generation that I was using this week, which I thought was really awesome. And I haven't figured it out yet, but I'll show you what the outcome is. If you go to WP and you look at these clips, shorts, okay? First, I do have to adjust this because some of it's weird, but like I had this whole thing, right? So we were doing a live talk last Saturday, and this is normally just, but if I go to StreamYard, let's see if it'll actually work. StreamYard gave me, yeah, okay, here. So StreamYard gave me the ability to, let's say I go into one of the shows, like yesterday's Pixel Perfect show. I pause this and I go AI clips generate. What it does is it will generate clips that are ready for me. And depending on what my camera is, some of them are pretty good. I can just click publish. Let me go and I'll show you from an earlier show. So you can see here from the cursor GitHub, it's just made clips that I can look at and publish. And some of them are good, some of them are bad. Like this is horrific because the lighting was bad, but you get the idea. StreamYard has this neat feature now that I think for those of you who are considering it, the cost of it is well worth it. I think StreamYard is, I'm on a pro and I think it's $39 a month. You guys are welcome to use a referral here. Let's see, I'll copy the referral link. Anybody you want to try it and pay for it, I will not be upset. But I think I pay $40 a month. Let's see, hold on. I don't know where the billing is. Members, destination, library. Oh, my account. Billing. I pay $44.99 a month, worth every penny, almost like with Fathom. I don't know how I would live without it. Okay, I'm going to call Uncle for today. So the takeaway for all of you guys who've sat through is, number one, whether you're curious, running for yourself, or agency, the tools themselves help you build stuff with the tools. And as you build and make the tools, they help you understand the world around you, so you find opportunities where previously it was difficult. Number two, you can present to other people things and systems that you can do easily with this that they can't, so that you now stand out as somebody who can bring them into the new world. Number three, I am seeking relationships with you and everybody else to handle your infrastructure so that you can give me all of that aggravation and I can manage it directly as a global system. You can focus on the human relationships. And we can do this as a profitable thing on many levels. Number one, there's already an affiliate revenue built in just from sending people to use the MinuteLaunch system. Even for the basic original, MinuteLaunch Kit traditional software, there's $20 on every month. That's $240 a year for their 97 subscription. That saves them a ton of money. For the MinuteLaunch AI, it's $40 a month. That's $480 for every year, every person you send my way. And when you get into the higher stuff, even better. What I'm saying is you can emulate what I do. You can partner with me. We're always going to do the right thing with everybody. They own it. They control it. We take them out of expensive systems or egregious systems. And more importantly is, as I started, this is the Snake River Canyon. We are now jumping across, and unlike Evel Knievel, we're going to make it at the earliest stages of this curve so that you'll have these profitable relationships when the big 5 companies come in and just give this away to everybody all the time. Because let's be honest, that's how it's going to go. I know that AOL, which was a big company in of itself, still made like $2.5 billion last year, they claim, because it's a private company now, on dial-up email in rural areas. It's amazing to think about, but the reason they did that was because they had all those relationships from before ISDN and cable, and those people just never went away. This is what I'm saying. We have a window here of opportunity to be the leaders in this industry, and getting you a list of 50, 100 people that I can support your infrastructure, that makes you a recurring revenue as the world continues to advance. And by the way, you're just as smart and just as capable as everybody else, because nobody right now is technically an expert yet. We're all the experts. I hope you enjoyed today. My friend Vince and Deneen are going to come over for some lunch. Maybe we'll do a live video, because I'm going to help set up Deneen with some more advanced tools for her business. Vince, of course, is deep into it. And I will see you guys on the next live video scheduled by Bernardo. See you then.